So, I guess you're asking me about why we're here on the grounds and Iolani Palace grounds. Behind me is the burial mound that once in the very beginning held the remains of Kamehameha II and Liholiho and his wife Kamamalu, Kamehameha sometimes they call it. They were both children of Kamehameha, but they were half brother and sister, which those kinds of marriages were
common in ancient Hawaii
because of the it was lineage that mattered a lot. Anyway, the reason they were buried here, they were brought back to Honolulu or Hawaii following their death in London. They were visiting King George.
It was measles.
Measles.
They were susceptible to the healthy diseases.
They fell victim very easily. They were brought back by Liholiho had a guardian, or at least an advisor, whose name was Boki, Chief Boki, who was also the governor of this island of Oahu, and a liaison for him, represented him. It was just, it was the kind of a king would have, a high-ranking chief to represent him. Boki was married to Liliha, and so they were the ones who brought Liholiho, the remains of Liholiho and Kamehamalu back to Hawaii. And the remains were placed in the crypt, I think in 1824 or something along. There used to be a building on that where the mound is at, but excuse me. They remained there, and as well as the remains of other chiefs and chiefesses who were passing. And when the royal mausoleum in Nu'uanu was finally finished, then the remains were all conveyed up to the chapel, and the chapel was overflowing with remains with coffins, and so they had to actually create the crypts and tombs that are on the grounds. Something that's very interesting about and in this movie that they're attempting to do on Princess Kaiulani's life, will never have the depth of what Hawaiians would be more appreciative of. A common song that people love to sing would have, if it were written in the Hawaiian way, would have layers of what we call kauna, layers of interpretation. Yeah. So, in terms of this movie, it's a movie is very. It can, if the director is and the script writer are thinking the way Hawaiians would have thought, they could accomplish that and build drama through that kind of creative process to think on the levels of Hawaiians. I'll point out one. We know that Iolani Palace was built by King Kalakaua. The coronation stand in the far background was actually built in front of the palace steps, and that's where the coronation occurred. Kamehameha statue, that's across the street in front of the old legislative building. Ali'iolani, which is now where the Supreme Court, State Supreme Court, is located. That statue is actually the second Kamehameha statue. The very first one was sunk on the ship that was conveying it off the Falkland Islands, and so with the insurance money, they ordered the second one. And little did they know that a salvaging team had picked up the cargo, so the first statue was sitting out in front of a store somewhere in South America.
All this time.
Yeah.
But now it's on Mokuokeawe right now, right? It's on the Hawaii Island.
The one on Hawaii. And but see, the palace, the coronation, and all these things that we take for granted were actually conceived by not just King Kalakaua, but his premier, who was Walter Murray Gibson, who at the time of thinking these ideas up, because he's quite a royalist and very loyal, one of the few non-Hawaiians who thought like a Hawaiian and felt like a Hawaiian. And he was a legislator at the time, and he had suggested for the centennial of the recognition of the founding of the Hawaiian nation under Kamehameha that a statue be created. So that was all of his idea, and it blended well into King Kalaka's scheme of things. But the thing, after explaining all of that, I wanted to point out that people have often tried to figure out what Kamehameha is doing. From, well, he's greeting people, he's, you know, all these gestures, and this plays again into the kauna. So I'm going to explain the kauna, that you have the palace, you have Kamehameha standing across the street, and then you have the royal tomb here, or where the tomb was, and then you have the Hawaiian anthem, which is the state anthem now, but was the anthem composed by King Kalakaua. And what he says is, he's always saying, look to your chief, look to the Nana I Komo'i. So Komo'i, the Mo'i resides there, and he's
actually gesturing toward this.
Yes, as he's gesturing, you can say the Mo'i, but if you were to stand at the gate of the tomb, the location of the tomb, he's actually pointing right there.
That's amazing.
Nana.
Chicken skin, man.
Yeah. And so it's the
all these years.
It's the kauna of Hawaiians that Hawaiians know, but not everybody else.
Wow.
And so when Hawaiians sing songs, if you understand the nuances, you can laugh along with the song, and nobody knows what you're laughing at, you know, because only certain people understand that. But these are the things to me that would be of great interest to the visitor if the tours pointed out. I mean, I'd find that very stimulating. I mean, that's drama.
Yeah.
And so my point to the filmmakers is, why can't you use Hawaiian kauna and thinking for your drama? And
again, it's the Western mind. They think one-dimensional, sensationalistic, exploitive.
Antagonist, protagonist. You know,
very black and white.
Yeah, very black and white.
Yeah.
So what we were attempting to do here is to, when I struggled over a month ago with this, the reason was that the director, script writer, director, and producer, his name is Mark Forby, has written a script that was very challenging for me. But I had been approached to portray King Kalakaua, and without even seeing the script, I rejected it because I said, you know, I don't look like King Kalakaua. I'm not trying to portray him. I think it's I'm complimented by that, but you know, I tell them that I tell people all the time. When I was growing up, there were quite a few Hawaiian men with this kind of mutton chops beard. I think it was from the time of Kalakaua and the trouble that the Hawaiian people were having with the white population here, that it became a statement of what they call malama, where you hold on, you perpetuate. You don't have to say it. Hawaiians never had to say that much. It's by symbols, it's by song, it's by, you know, gesture. It didn't take much to send the message if you were on the same wavelength, you know, receiving it. So I offered, while I rejected the role, I offered to help them with the script, to, you know, attempt to Hawaiianize it. But there was so much more wrong with it, but I just didn't want to blast through it. It really needed a total overhaul. And I was hearing them say, well, this is not a documentary, not a docudrama. And this is a dramatic, not even a reenactment. They've mixed real life personages who we hold dear, the King Kalakaua, King Kapi'olani, Lili'u Kalani, Ka'iulani, everyone who pretty much lived in that time, and integrated them with fictional characters, people that never existed, and interact with our real life personages. And my objection was, my golly, this appears to be a true story, no matter how you want to tell me you're using dramatic license. The person who has no idea of Hawaiian history will take this as gospel. And if you show this movie to millions of people around the world, how do you undo that?
Yeah.
How do we undo it as Hawaiian people?
And already what I've noticed, there's a on the mainland there's so much reinterpretation, and they call it revisionist history. So much
yes.
renaming and relabeling and redefining Hawaiian words and Hawaiian concepts.
Well, that was when they were trying to get me to do this movie. I said, I'm concerned about the script. Well, don't worry about it, because the script writer, he's researched for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, okay. And I said, well, that's commendable, but I've been doing research for 42, and I'm still a student. So
Exactly.
whatever he's interpreting is still, I don't want to put it this way, but I'll say it's more of a preschool compared to people who have lived a lifetime either in the culture or researching it. And how do you gain a depth of understanding if you don't have that same period of immersion,
You've heard of the Rock, Dwayne
Rock
Johnson. He was going to do Kamehameha.
That was so offensive they shut it down from what I hear, or he withdrew it. I don't know if it's still in the works, but he's going to get a lot of people upset again.
Well, that caused a lot of furor in the media, and one of the interesting side effects was this big discussion about, all right, how about the locals, the people who this is their lineage, these are their ancestors. How about a grassroots, as it were, film company?
I'm going to share something with you that will probably give you chicken skin as I speak about it when I reveal it. But when I was trying to get the point across to the interviewers who came from KITV and KGMB that...
Oh, just now?
Yeah, they were just here. This is a press conference. Not that many showed up, but that's okay.
I'm late.
No, well, we did 2 newspaper stories and then 2 television. But and I wanted them to know it's not just me. I might have started the talking, but what I began to do was just to send out the scripts that I had. One is a script that contains in blue line the recommended revisions I was proposing, and Mark Forby, to his credit, accepted. But I submitted, I had 5, I went to the email after and I submitted 5 different, email submissions, and they were like averaging 10, 12 pages, things like that, just so he could understand the reasoning behind what I was offering. But I think it was all based on the idea he thought I would take the part. And I kept recommending, I don't know if you've heard of Hau'oli Akaka, but to me he's more convincing as King Kalakaua than I would ever be. King Kalakaua stood about 6'3", and he was a pretty good sized guy. Hau'oli Akaka is pretty close to that. I'm 200 pounds and 6 feet, just like that, and no way could I be convinced. Even with trick photography, and I'm half Hawaiian. I'm not pure Hawaiian. So, and it's not my point. It never has been my point to be the king. I'm more the messenger. I tell stories, I sing, and I try to reflect pride on our ali'i in whatever way, whether it's Kalakaua or any other ali'i that I sing or talk about. But what I'm going to tell you is I was resisting this in the beginning. I said, well, take a look at the script. And these guys were already told by another casting director, if Palani doesn't like it, he's not going to do it. The script has to be really to his liking or he won't do it. And so
was that a local casting director? Fishburne or Sue
Well, she
Larkin?
was actually she's been around, she's cast for 5-0 Magnum and is doing Lost. And an old friend of mine. We've known each other for years.
Fishburne?
No, this is...
Sue Larkin?
Wait, now you got me thinking something. I'll come back. Margaret Dovasola.
Oh, okay.
Dear friend, very smart. And she told him right from the beginning, he's a hard sell. He's not going to just jump at the...
And also, you better listen to him.
Well, no, that wasn't... It was just they were trying to get me for the part, and I said I didn't want it. Well, look at the script. Okay, can I see the whole script? No, it's locked up.
Unlock it.
Well, they were under strict orders not to let anyone.
Party at the Palani Palace.
Hey, how are you? Say hi. So, they said, well, we have these audition reading sessions, and it happened. It was a Friday before President's Day, and I said, okay. I called Haoli Akak. I said, I want you to come down the same time I come, and then I'll read, and then you come in right after it. And I'm sure they'll, like you. Of course, he has no, he said, I haven't had any acting experience. This is just so what? Just you can get coached, And the main thing is he looks good to my mind and my eye, and he speaks fluent Hawaiian. I mean, how convincing that is, and then you get past all the other things. You can gesture and you can do whatever they want. That's what a director's supposed to do. So he came down, and immediately on my read, I said, I have to tell you, I don't like the script, and I see you compressing history. You're trying to compress 3-4 years of events into one scene. It doesn't fly with me, because everything's just confused, and you're trying to make it work in a dramatic way, and for me it doesn't. It's just not real. So with that honesty between us, they said, well, we still like you to have, try for the part. I said, well, I'd still like to see the script. So they said, come to a reading Friday night. We'll have a dry read with some actors, and I said, then you can see the script. So I said, okay. I was curious at that point because they were hiding the script, and I thought, when somebody is not forthcoming, it raises doubts and question marks, caution flags. So at the reading, I immediately, and I read it again to make sure, you can say, I can't believe this. Read it again, read the part, walked out of there, and I had this increasing, Hawaiian say, nana'au. You get this uncomfortable feeling. It was just growing and growing, and I kept saying, I gotta call these guys. I have no number to call. And so over the weekend, Saturday, Sunday was even worse. I was praying so hard, please, praying to the clock, praying to God in heaven, Jesus, please, get somebody to contact me, somehow get me free of this. So Monday on President's Day, I get a phone call, and it's the wardrobe from Los Angeles wanting my measurements. And
pretty presumptuous of them.
Well, he says, well, we hear you're the king. I said, well, so I was trying to play ball. I said, okay, this is my measurements. But then I said, you know what? I really have to tell you, I'm being honest with you. I'm not planning to do this part. Oh, what do you mean? I said, I'm just not planning to do it because I don't like the script. Funny you should say that, because we don't like the script either.
Wow.
And
this is wardrobe in LA?
And she is a Haole girl married to a Hawaiian from here. I better not say their names, but anyway, she said that her husband had said to her, I said, and she expressed the scenes that they were not liking in the script, and I said, well, that's interesting. It's been said that I'm the only one objecting. I'm the only one that's objecting to the script, and now I'm getting this phone call. So, I keep telling these guys, Hawaiians have a spiritual way of working things out. We don't have to always be figuring out, let me see, if I do this, you don't strategize. If you pull it, you think on it, you feel it, it's going to come. And I told her, I said, this is no accident you calling me. Because she said, I know it's a holiday. We really weren't supposed to work, but we were talking it over, and said, well, I'll call this person and I'll call Palani. And she says, you're the first one I'm calling. I said, that's no accident.
Yeah.
It was...
You sent it out.
Yeah, it's meant to happen. Well, the Kalako was sent her this way. So then I said, I had just been struggling all weekend with this. And she says, my husband said, didn't they bless this production? And I went, you mean they haven't? He goes, no, they haven't. And so she says, I'm talking to them now, especially since the line producer died. And I said, died? Heart attack? No. They're staying at the Princess Kailoni Hotel, and she fell off the balcony.
Holy cow.
I said,
that is wild.
This underscores exactly what I said, when did it happen? Last night, Sunday night, when I had that heavy inside.
Oh man, that's wild.
So I said, they will never understand what we go through, what we feel, but I just can't. I can't do this anymore. However, I offered to help them, and when I was told that I was the only one, I was around the production office, and one guy pulled me on the side. Well, he was outside. He said, "I gotta shake your hand." Not even Hawaiian. Or I don't think he looked either. He was Oriental looking. He said, "I was in the office when you left the message." I said, "Right on, brother." I shake your hand. I said, "We don't like the script either." So it's
So people internally is this against it too?
but
Interesting.
they can't say it. They're afraid to say it. And I'm not identifying everybody, anybody. I'm just generally speaking. But
Right.
but there is also an internet-generated email which spoke of the insurance underwriter talking about some weird things that have been happening with this production company. And the underwriter, they underwrite films and Hollywood films and actors. And so there's the question of, is there a legend attached to Princess Kaiulani? So I say to you, this goes beyond the tip of the iceberg is the script. It's flawed, it's faulty, but when you deal with, and I want people to really think about it, when you talk about Kinkalako, when you talk about Princess Kaiulani, sure, she's a beautiful, lovely Hawaiian, part Hawaiian, half Hawaiian woman and royalty, but who's standing behind her in spirit, in the Hawaiian spirit form? You have her mother, Mikeri. Who's behind her? Kapa'akea, Ke'ohukalolo. Who's behind them? You go up the genealogical tree, and when you get to those ancient genealogies they tie into, you're talking the high chiefs, the warriors who, they killed whoever didn't bow down. And so you got that kind of spiritual power behind. And if you're not showing the respect to the ali'i they deserve, you suffer the consequences.
Yeah. And that's whether or not you believe in it. It's like a lot of how they come here. Oh, I don't believe in this Madame Pele. I'm going to take a lot anyway. It doesn't matter.
And the line producer is the one who fell off.
Yeah.
Poor soul. I feel bad for her. She's the one who is charged with setting everything up.
Mm-hmm.
Locations, sets, everything. That's her job. And she paid a price.
Yes.
It's hard. It's just an accident. I don't know. You're staying at Princess Kaiulani Hotel. You're doing Princess Productions.
That was her home. The location was her home.
Well, Ainaha is in. Yeah, it's around that area.
Mm-hmm.
But but Princess Productions, staying at Princess Kaiulani Hotel.
They call it Princess Productions.
Yes. So there's that link. Everything's linked.
Mm. What do you think about what I mentioned earlier? A local Hawaiian-based film production company.
Yeah.
We'll just leave that alone.
We have been discussing that in separate groups, but there is another Hawaiian. He's not a classmate of mine, but he's Kamehameha grad, and he wants to. He's doing. I think his plan is to do it for Discovery Channel or A&E, the life of Kamehameha, a documentary.
Docudrama?
I guess docudrama because they're going to reenact scenes from his life. And I told him, I said, that's a tough one because you're going to have a lot of interpretation happening, and I know some of the levels of arguable interpretation, and I think what they're going to have to wind up doing is presenting all the different interpretations. So
not present anything as facts. Say
so
these
you
are possibilities.
Satisfy a believer of one story and another of another.
Yeah.
So that's going to be challenging, and that's what I said to the reporters. He said, "What would you like to? You want to stop the film?" I said, "Well, we wanted to stop the filming in the palace because we're concerned about preserving our palace. It's 125 years old. It's going to be around another 125 for future generations. Yeah. We're doing this in the name of those who can't speak, our ali'i of the past.
Right.
They're, they
And
would
those who
stand-
won't speak now.
Yeah, but they can't speak, so we speak for them. And those who are unborn, the future Native Hawaiians who will come along. And what are they going to see this film as? A touchstone to understand what happened here. And it's a flawed story.
Right.
So how do they get the fact? When I went to do my research, I can go archives, library, and dig it out and ferret out the information. Now you have a film that's not truthful. Future generations not going to know whether
Yeah,
they're
it's
Hawaiian or not.
pre-digested, misdirected truth.
And I just took it as, I almost see this, well, my view is like another overthrow, where the overthrow was, we were force-fed by the overthrow, well, the Bennett Constitution, stick a rifle in your face, you sign it, King signs it, 2/3 of the Hawaiian lose the right to vote, he loses power in the process. Come with the Marines off the Charleston, they threaten force feeding, I guess, threaten the Queen with blowing up the palace and killing Hawaiians, so she gives up her, she didn't, you know, that's the active, I mean, the sovereign state, she never technically gave up.
Yeah, her letter to America was, I know that you'll do the right thing. I'm doing this temporarily, so there's no bloodshed.
Yeah. And the kingdom is still intact. So, force feeding us the annexation. We didn't want it. Petition against, a petition. Well, we can't do a treaty. Let's do a resolution. You know, and so, and then the lie has perpetuated that statue of McKinley at McKinley High School, and he's standing there, and of course Sanford Ballard Dole put that up, and he's standing there with the document. If you look at the etching on the document, it says Treaty of Annexation. Another lie.
Wow, that's my high school. I didn't even
You went to McKinley?
yeah,
Okay,
I went to
well,
McKinley
it's a lie.
early 70s.
But see how they, and so I see this movie as the same kind of thing, creating a lie that people will believe. Statue of McKinley is a lie. There's other lies. And force feeding it to Hawaiian people. And I thought, you know, in the days when these things happen to our Hawaiian people, they didn't have the ability to speak. We can't let that happen. We can't give them the silent affirmation. By not saying anything, it's as good as, okay, go ahead, do it.
Right.
We have to speak up. I haven't gotten any negative criticism out of it. I've had people who are not Hawaiian saying, you know, I'm glad you're doing it. I said, well, it's not me alone. It's, you know, the other three of our group of four, and now it's been larger yet. And the one fellow you met, the Henry Noah, he's got 3,000 citizens in his group, so it's quite a large.
Is there a website that kind of vocalizes some of these concerns?
Oh, we haven't even gotten that far, but I think he may be under the reinstated kingdom. This has all happened so quickly.
Right.
You know, just a matter of even Colleen Ayu, who is Maiki Ayu's daughter, Ula, and she is the president of the Ahui Iulani, was commenting to me. She says, "You just talked to me last Wednesday, and this firestorm just broke out." And I said, "Well, it broke out in my heart, you know, a long time ago. But it's just a matter of, I felt that the public needed to know. If they're just dealing with me, I'm an easy target to shut down. But
No, you got the whole Hawaiian Islands. There's Vicky Holtakamini. There's all kinds of people that are steadfast.
Once they hear the story, and the best way to get them the stories is, here, read the script. You decide yourself. That's all I've been doing. I said, look, I'm going to feed Henry Noah.
So put the script on the internet.
Well, it's, right now, it's the early form of the script that what I was trying to show them. I said, the first script I have is dated February 27th, after having some the verbal interaction with the scriptwriter. And he marked in blue line the insertions from my proposals to Hawaiianize the script. And then later on March 8th, it's no longer blue line, and the Friends of Iolani Palace is right here in this side building. And so executive director said, I have a script, and it's dated March 8th. So he sent me that one. We've been comparing the two. We're using it for people who need to get onto what we were talking about and the impressions we had drawn from the script, so they can understand. Now, the script has always been changed. The title has been changed from The Barbarian Princess to now The Last Princess. Well, I can tell you this, the old proverbial hukai has hit the fan because we have been informed that Kekalike Kavana Nakua is quite upset with that. And I don't blame her because she is a princess, so how can Kaiulani be the last princess?
Right.
And so these guys have gotten themselves in another deep hole.
So that changing the titles to try to placate people, but it's still wrong.
They made another mistake.
Yeah.
Without thinking, they just make one go
Or asking and saying, here's some optional.
Exactly. Why not consult Hawaiians before they do something? Why just say, okay, let's do this?
Do they not have a local? Do they not have a Hawaiian script consultant or cultural consultant?
I was a volunteer. I was offering my services for free.
And they said we don't.
And my background is, I'll just say that I'm not new to this. I was I was hired as the cultural consultant technician by Tom Selleck in the year of the Hawaiian '87 for his Hawaiian episode of the year. And my director was Jackie Cooper from the Little Rascals.
Yeah, Jackie Cooper. Yeah.
And I ran up against a big brick wall with him. He didn't like, I guess I can say it, it's true. He didn't like and I had power over him. He didn't like that. Directors have absolute power, but to Tom Selleck's credit, he said, cultural consultant, this is the year of the Hawaiian. We need to keep true to that. And so, I brought in for one of the scenes, it was a luau scene, rehearsal, and then the actual performance, hula dancers. So
this was in one of the Magnum PI?
Magnum PI.
Was this when he was stranded on that outer island, and Rocky and Dick Jensen was they were?
No, that was another. This was on the mansion, the property.
Okay.
And they were putting on this luau, and so. Anyway, I brought the dance. I recommend these dancers, and he said, calls a meeting. He says, I have a problem with these dancers. And I said, what's the matter? He said, well, they're too fat. And I said, you know what?
It's a Western judgment.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter. Hula, when they perform, you forget about this. You see the flow of the dancer. He says, but they're also ugly.
What? He said that?
Yeah. Fat and
man.
ugly. How's it? So fat and ugly, I said, and other people reacted the same way. It didn't matter. I had the last call. He didn't like that.
Yeah.
And well, you know what a trailer is for movies and TV shows.
Oh, yeah.
It's what they show to get you to watch the show. Well, my fat, ugly dancers were the trailer.
Wow.
It was so dramatically, powerful. They couldn't, they could pick any scene out of their created.
This was one episode?
One episode.
What, do you know the name of it? Because I got them all on tape.
Oh, it's 1987.
Yeah, okay, I'll check that out.
Honestly, I forgot.
I'll search it out. Because I've got all the Hawaii Five-0.
Branscombe Richmond and
Branscombe, yeah.
Yeah, he was my ex-brother-in-law. I was married. My ex-wife is his sister.
I'm running out of battery space. You probably have one.